Hi, everyone, and welcome to episode 38, The Flake Factor. So all around the country, Canada, the United States, East Coast, West Coast, Middle, for years, this isn't something new. This isn't a new issue we're dealing with in today's recruiting environment. This has been happening for a long time, but I'm hearing it often. I just had conversations earlier this week with two different leaders in two different parts of the country where they're frustrated that, hey, I'm offering positions and just people aren't showing up. And I'm like, oh, what's your percentage? You know what? And I'm hearing things like, well, out of every 10 new starts or 10 offers, I'm getting like 3 or 4 to show, and the other 6 or 7 are no call, no shows. And that can wear on a person. It's very frustrating. So I get it, but I'm just letting you know it's nothing new. And it's certainly not, it doesn't define the young people today. It's not a Gen Z thing. It's not a millennial thing. This has been happening for a long time. I remember the first time it happened with me, even as a sales rep. Okay, I'm a rep in the field. I'm talking to a gentleman at his door. He says, oh yeah, that sounds good. Hey, why don't you come back tomorrow? Now, at the time, I didn't really know how to close. I'm like, yeah, no problem. Just setting up appointments. And I'll come back tomorrow. I'm in the area anyway. Come back tomorrow, see the gentleman again. He goes, oh, you again. Listen, I'm real busy right now. Why don't you come back tomorrow? So I come back the next day. This kept happening. Finally, I show up at the guy's door and he gets upset with me and he says, why can't you just take no for an answer? And he slams the door on my face. And I'm just like, because you never said no. He kept telling me to come back. So I was scratching my head. Well, why wouldn't he just be straight with me? He was just telling me what I wanted to hear, but that was his way of saying no. Like, just come back was his way of saying no. So I thought that was really odd. I remember as a leader, I'm trying to build my crew, and I was devastated the first time I had somebody that was flaky with me, somebody that, I'm expecting them to show up on Monday. Every time the door would open in the office, I'm like, is that my new guy? No. Is that my new guy? No. Is that my new guy? I could tell a leader in the office is kind of smirking at me and says, hey, Jamie, let me just tell you something. This might help you out a lot. You got to go through a few flakes to find your raisins, was how he put it, like good old Kellogg's Raisin Bran or something like that. And that was his way of telling me, Jamie, it's a law of average thing. Don't lose your mind. Don't lose your attitude. This happens. I guess that kind of worked a little bit, like maybe don't take it so personally. But I've always wanted to know, is there a way I can avoid flakiness? Is there a way that I can just have people where their word is their bond and they can be straight and real and authentic with me? That's really what I want to do. So I look in the dictionary, and the dictionary doesn't help with the term flake. It's a flat, small piece of something. Okay, well, that doesn't help me. The Urban Dictionary is a little more accurate, and that says, well, it's a person who's unreliable, a person who commits to doing things but rarely follows through. That's what we want to avoid. So let's just deal with two issues. Why is this happening? And then what can we do to avoid this? Okay, that's really what I want to cover in the next few minutes. So why does it happen? Put yourself in the shoes of a job seeker. Okay, I'm a job seeker. All I want to do is really impress the person who's interviewing me. I want you to offer me a position. And I don't want to say something that makes you like, oh, you know what? Maybe Jamie's the wrong guy. I don't want to do that. I want you to really like me. I want you to if every company's throwing me a position, if every company's making me an offer, if I've got 10 companies making me an offer, well, now I'm in control and I'm like, man, I'm going to just choose the best one now. I'm going to choose the company that gives me the most pay, the most benefits, the most upside. Sure, bring it on. So a lot of times people are just hesitant to say maybe what's really on their mind. Like, listen, I'm really unsure, buddy. And so maybe it's just easier to say yes. Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, see you Monday. Than it is to say, listen, I just don't know. In fact, I've got 3 other interviews lined up, but let me say yes to you here. It's just maybe easier to say that. But again, I don't blame people necessarily for wanting to leave a great impression. Obviously I want people I want to know that your word is your bond. All my good friends, the people that are close to me, if you say you're going to do something, man, I want to take that to the bank. But for people that I don't know yet, I'm not going to assume that your word is your bond. Okay, so again, this is why it's happening. They're just trying to make a great impression. They want to get the offer. And so now it's on you, the person interviewing, whether you're a leader or an owner watching this, it's on you to fine tune your communication to avoid the flake factor. Okay, so let's get into this now. I heard this a long time ago that the definition of disappointment is the gap between expectations and reality. Interesting. That if the expectations and reality were the same, there would be no disappointment. So again, the larger that gap, the larger the disappointment. Okay, so interesting. So it starts really with what our expectations are. We're expecting this person to show up. As a sales rep, I was expecting that customer to buy. It kept telling me to come back. So again, got these expectations, and then reality, the rug gets pulled from underneath our feet, and we're disappointed. And this is why this flake factor is just driving us all a little bananas. So I have to own the communication here, and I have to frame this right. And here's how I've been framing it with recruits for years now, and this has really helped me minimize the flake percentage. So here goes. Let me just dive right into a talking track. I'm not going to get into really how the whole interview goes. I just want to talk about the end. Right before we part ways, I want to just set the right expectation here. And I want to just bluntly ask, hey, I just want to know where you are in the recruiting process. And the way I see it, there's really 3 buckets. And if there's a 4th bucket, hey, I'm open to hear it. But the way I see it, there's really 3 buckets. Bucket 1, I've heard enough, I've seen enough, I like what I'm hearing, I want in, this place is for me. You offer me a position, man, I'm ready to start. That's bucket 1. Bucket 2, I've heard enough, I've seen enough, and I want out. This isn't for me. This just isn't my cup of tea. No problem. That's bucket 2. Bucket 3 is, well, listen, I'm liking what I'm hearing so far, but I'm just not sure. And I'm not sure for a couple reasons. Either A, I've got other interviews lined up, so that's why I'm not sure. Or number 2, hey, I'd just like to talk to my uncle who's in business, or I'd like to talk to my parents, or just like to consult with a professor that I'm close with. But I'm just not sure. It's a maybe. So out of those 3 buckets, where are you in this recruiting process? Or again, if there's a 4th bucket, again, I'm open. I just want to know where you're at. Because the last thing I want to do, again, back to the framing, the last thing I want to do is I offer you a position, you're shaking hands, yeah, let's do this, and we're saving this position for you Monday, and then you don't show up. That's the last thing I want to do. I don't want to get anybody's expectations wrongly set here. Okay, so that's the last thing I want to do. So where are you at with this? So if somebody says, let's just kind of continue with the role playing. Somebody says, listen, I'm in bucket 2. This just isn't for me. Well, listen, no harm, no foul. I didn't waste my time. You didn't waste your time. Hey, we made friends. We both learned something here, and wish that person well. Okay, I wish you well in your journeys, and I hope you find what you're looking for. And really, everybody you come in contact with, you want them as a raving fan of you and your business. So again, just leave people as raving fans. So be kind and cordial with everybody. That's bucket 2. The bucket 3s, okay, the maybes, okay, so here's the maybes. I don't want to offer the position to the maybe. I want them to think about it and get back to me before I offer the position. Okay, so hey, I respect the maybe. I respect where you're at. So hey, tell you what, before we offer the position, and again, get the right expectation. Hey, I want to give you to the end of the week to really think this through. Go on those other interviews. In fact, sometimes to figure out the timelines, I'll ask them, hey, how long do you have interviews lined up for? Oh, till the end of the week. Okay, well then, once they're done all the interviews, that's your cutoff time. So you may want to fish a little bit for how long are you interviewing for? Oh, my last interview is on Friday. Great. Then get back to me by Friday. Shoot me a text or shoot me an email answering 2 simple things. Hey, do you want to work here? Hey, yes, I want to open the door. And then what's your first available start date? So those are the 2 things that I want to know. So you get back to me. That's going to be my expectation. You follow up, you pursue me, and I'll let you know if the position's going to be open. Or hey, I'll talk it over with the owner of the business or whoever you're talking with to make your recruiting decisions. You let them know that what you make the first move, and then I'll get back to you immediately. I always tell people I will get back to you within 24 hours of you hitting me up. You texting or emailing me, you will hear back from me within 24 hours. I will not be flaky. I'll let them know that my word is my bond. I will not be flaky. You can expect me to return. And then throw them a compliment. Listen, if you really like the person, don't be indifferent. I'm not going to be indifferent with Michael Jordan. I want you on the team. I think you'd be a great asset to the business. I just respect where you're at in the recruiting process. But here's what I like about you. Again, throw them a sincere compliment. If they did something in the past that makes you really motivated on them, or there's just something about them, maybe just even the way they carry themselves, throw them a heartfelt compliment. It goes a long way. So that's really how I want to handle the bucket threes. And the bucket ones, hey, listen, I'm ready to start. I'm good to go on Monday. I want to maybe push that a little bit. I maybe want to beat the negative before it happens. Like, well, don't you have other interviews lined up? Yeah, I got other interviews lined up, but I'm ready to cancel those. Like, really? You're going to cancel them? Why? Or don't you have to talk to your mom and dad about this? Or don't you have anybody you want to talk through with this? No, I'm all good. I'm like, really? Why? And then they'll tell you. A lot of times when you press for the why, like, why are you so eager to start immediately? A lot of times they'll tell you the important things that are on their minds or how they look at what they see here with you, and you'll get even that much more motivated on the person. No, this is the culture that I'm looking for. I've interviewed a lot of different companies. This is what I'm looking for. Or this is the entrepreneurial spirit I really believe I can flourish in. So they'll tell you something when you're pressing that why. Like, be a little skeptical on the why. And they'll tell you, exactly why they're ready to start immediately. And again, for me, many times, I just get even that much more sold and motivated on the person. Again, I go back to the compliment when I'm hiring somebody. Listen, if I'm hiring somebody, there's something I obviously like. So you should have a genuine, sincere compliment, and you make the offer. You come to terms. You both make an agreement when the start date is, or the new hire paperwork, or whatever it may be, and you shake hands and you make the agreement. So again, those positioning it, framing it that way, is how I avoid disappointment. I have to own the communication. If my flake percentages are high and I'm going crazy, well, maybe I'm just assuming too much. Maybe I'm just assuming that they don't have other interviews. Maybe I'm assuming that I'm so darn charming that they don't need to do any more homework. Like, come on, man, you got to kind of check your ego at the side. Like, don't be so assumptive and don't have these high expectations until you really peel the onion a little bit and get to the core. Like, are you really ready to make a decision? 3 buckets, yes, no, or maybe. And again, the maybe, follow up. I'll follow up. If they haven't followed up with me, again, back to the bucket 3, I'll pursue them to say, hey, where are you at in the recruiting process? I'm just curious. You can throw them a compliment. I think you'd be a great fit for the business. I'm not shy to follow up. Fortune is made in the follow-up. So be an aggressive recruiter and hunt the Michael Jordan talent for sure. Okay, so follow up with those people, but be authentic. Be real authentic. Own the communication. Give them opportunities to be real and authentic and communicate well with you so you can set the right expectation. That's really the key to avoiding the flake factor, is you're setting the right expectation. If this is the reality bar, I need to know where the expectations are, and I want expectations and reality to be as close as they can be to avoid that disappointment. So I hope that helps you guys. Let me know your thoughts. I'm always curious to hear if these videos are helpful or not. And have a great week. I'll talk to you guys soon.